This is Stelly with Closeout, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 ways to optimize your SaaS sales machine. 5 simple steps. Number 1, design a funnel. Number 2, improve the top of the funnel first. Number 3, create never-ending learning loops. Number 4, eliminate any complexity you can from your SaaS sales machine funnel. And number 5, shorten the sales cycle whenever possible. We're going to dive into each and every one of these 5 steps with practical and tactical tips. At the end of the video today, you're going to have learned 5 ways to optimize your SaaS sales machine and see better results, more revenue, more growth for your company. Right? Let's dive right in. Step 1 is design a simple funnel. I meet founders all the time that tell me, well, we don't really have a funnel yet. Wrong. You have a funnel. If you know it or not, if the funnel is good or not, you have a funnel. If you've never talked to anybody, you never closed anyone, you never made any money, that's your funnel. You have 0 people contacted that led to 0 people qualified that led to 0 revenue driven, right? That's your current funnel. You have one. What I want you to do is think in a very simple way about starting where you are and maybe making a few adjustments to make it a little bit better. Like, what does the typical sales process look like, right? You need to start with your ideal customer profile, truly and intimately understanding who is our customer and target audience that we're going after. Once you understand that, then that leads and informs the decision on where to get leads from, right? Okay, if we know who our ideal customer is, where are these people? Where can we get in touch with them, right? It's as simple as that. And once you know where to go to get in touch with them and to find information about them and start having a conversation with them, then you can take those leads and you can take them to the next step, which is to qualify them, right? You have some conversations that lead to qualified opportunities. Here are not only people that I think should buy, but after I've talked to them, we have re-verified that they have a need that our product solves, and the timing and the budget and the person I'm talking to, all the things check off for this deal to have a real shot to getting done. And now once we go through the qualification stage, the last stage is really the conversion stage, right? How many of the people that we've talked to and the businesses that we talk to that truly qualify for buying our solution or product, how many of those have we converted to purchase or lost truly, right? That's at the most basic level what any sales process on this planet looks like, right? But it all starts with an intimate understanding of your ideal customer profile. That's really, really, really crucial. If you know that, now we can design a really simple funnel. And here's the way I want you to think about this. The framework that we teach is the AQC funnel framework. Activity, quality, conversion. What does that mean? I'll give you a simple example through, let's say, a sales call funnel. If I make 100 dials, let's say out of the 100 dials I make, I reach 15 people. Out of the 15 people I reach, I qualify 10. Out of the 10 that I qualify, I close 5. Right? Let's say that that's our funnel. The activity part of the AQC funnel are the 100 dials. That's at the top of the activity funnel, right? I'm making 100 dials, that's the activity. The quality of the activity are the reaches and the qualifies, right? So out of all this activity that I'm putting into this funnel at the top, what is the quality of that activity, right? Out of 100 dials, I reach 15 people, and of the 15 people I reach, 10 I qualify. And now that we know the quality of that activity, how much of that converts, right? So out of 10 qualified conversations, we close 5 deals. If you understand this, if you know and if you have established this simple framework, you now know how to improve your funnel, how to improve your sales machine. And you always want to start at the beginning. It's usually 1 or 2 steps, before the symptom of the problem, right? So people all the time ask me, hey, we're only closing, let's say, 1 deal. We make 100 cold calls a day. How can we double our close rate? And I always tell people, I don't really know, right? I need more information. 100 dials and 5 closes is not enough information, or 100 dials and let's say 1 close is not enough information to know what to optimize and how to optimize things. right? I'll give you an example. Let's say we dial 100 numbers, but we only reach one person, of which we qualify one person, of which we close one person, right? It's a crazy funnel. If that's the case, what's our problem? Our problem is our reach rate, right? It is that we have to dial so many numbers and we only reach one person. How can we improve the quality of numbers we call, the time of day we call, the day in the week we call? How can we improve? What can we do in terms of outreach on social media, text message, email? What can we do to improve our reach rate? Because it's going to be much easier. Well, it's going to be possible to double our reach rate from $100 to reaching one to going from $100 to reaching two people. That is possible. But going from one qualified that leads to one closed deal to one qualified conversation leading to two closed deals, that's impossible, right? I only reach one person, of which one person I qualify, or which one person I close. There's nothing I can do to help you with your close rate at the end of the funnel, but I can do a lot of things. I could potentially 10x your close rate at the top of the funnel, because I could conceivably and very easily get you to reach 10 people out of $100. Does that make sense? All right, so what you want to do is you establish a simple funnel like this, and then you want to always start optimizing at the top of the funnel, because that's going to have the most leveraged outcome at the bottom of the funnel, right? $100, well, that's cool, but how many people do I reach? 15? Okay, this means this is pretty fine. Could we push this to up to 20 or 25? It's going to have a really big impact on our close rate. How many of the ones that we reach do we truly qualify? That's another really important quality factor, right? Let's say we reach 15 people, but we only qualify one. What does that tell us? Well, it tells us our activity is not high quality. It tells us that we're trying to call all these people we should never call, right? Because even when we reach them and we talk to them, we both agree we should have never talked before, right? There's not really a qualified opportunity here. So we want to do a much better job in the lead gen, in the ideal customer profile, in making sure we call better phone numbers, better prospects at better times, so we don't waste so much activity with low quality, right? But if I have good activity, good quality of activity, converting that should not be a problem. Okay, always start at the top of the funnel once you've established a simple funnel. The next thing you want to do is you want to create never-ending learning loops. Don't just sell to prospects, learn how to sell better from your prospects and customers. Make your prospects and customers part of your training, of your sales training. Make them part of your extended advisory board for your company. Utilize them as the only source of true knowledge on what you should be doing with your sales process, right? So listening to like quote unquote experts and authorities like me is nice, and you might learn some things, but the ultimate authority for your business are your prospects and your customers. So I get this all the time. People tell me, Stelly, here's the cold email that we send. Why are people opening it but never responding? Or hey, Stelly, here's the sales email that we send. Why are people not clicking on our link? Why are people doing this? Why are people aren't doing that? Well, I will have some opinions and I will have some experiences. But how about asking your customers? So when you talk to your customers, after they, let's say, open an email, responded, and agreed to have an introductory call with you, instead of instantly jumping into the sales conversation, why not take a minute and start the conversation by saying, hey, I know that you're very busy. I know that you get tons of emails every day. I'm curious, before we start the demo, or before we start the conversation, what made my email stand out to you? Why did you decide last week to not just open my email, but respond and agree to talk to me today? Right? How about asking that question? Let them tell you what made your email stand out positively, what made them curious, what made them interested. Let them educate you and highlight what really worked about your approach. And vice versa, how about calling some people, some prospects that opened your email but never responded? And you call them and you say, hey, I sent you an email yesterday about a business proposition. I assume you're not interested. This call is not about pitching you that as a, whatever, insert whatever you want, founder of a small startup, as a young professional just starting his career, whatever you want to say there. Say something that hopefully will raise the sympathy level and empathy level of the listener. I just want 1 or 2 sentences of advice from somebody as experienced as you. I sent you the email. I hope you saw it, but you probably decided this is not interesting to me. Why? Why did you decide not to respond to me? What made you think that it was a waste of your time or something that's not interesting enough to respond? Were you busy, or did you consciously decide you don't want to talk to me? Ask people to give you negative feedback. When you close a deal, ask the customer what really convinced you to go with us versus our competitors. Let your customers and your prospects be part of your R&D cycle in your sales machine and your SaaS sales process. Learn continuously from them. The only way to learn from them is to obviously observe the actions they take and the things they do, but also to check in and ask them simply, hey, give me some advice. You're an expert. You're an authority. You're an incredible customer. How would you sell my product if you were working with me? How would you approach this difficult customer? Why did you respond to this? What about the demo was good? What could I improve? You can ask for feedback. You have to create learning loops. You have to tap into the strongest authority there is, which is your customers and your prospects. And whenever you have a problem, ask your customers first. I'm serious. It could be any problem, a marketing problem. Let's say, people don't like to sign your 3-year contract, right? So you negotiate with customers and they always go, oh, 3 years is too long. I really don't want to sign that. But for whatever reason, your company decided that you really need 3-year contracts. Well, have you closed any customer on a 3-year contract? Ping them and ask them, hey, what made you decide for a 3-year contract? Do you think everybody in your industry is open to this? If some companies in this industry don't want to sign a 3-year contract, how would you, if you were an advisor to our business, if you were my co-founder, how would you approach selling a 3-year contract to the industry? Tap into your customer base to find answers and solutions to your problems. Nobody understands your customers better than your customers understand themselves and their colleagues and their industry. So tap into that knowledge base. The next step is to eliminate complexity. Complexity is toxic for predictability, for scalability, right? The moment you make things complex, your conversions drop, everything takes longer, everything is harder than it should be. 3 simple places where SaaS sales machines usually introduce complexity unnecessarily. Number 1 is building sales processes and setting up your sales team in a way that's incredibly reactive, right? So your salespeople, they do 13 different tasks throughout their day, and they start and stop in the middle of these tasks at all times, right? So they do a little bit of lead gen in the morning, and then they have a demo call, and then they have to check their inbox and answer some emails, and then one of those emails is like a large contract negotiation where the law firm from the prospect or the potential customer sent back some revisions, so now they have to project manage that with your law firm, and then they have a half an hour where they wanted to make a few cold calls, and then they have to jump on another demo. Like, they zigzag, they never get really warm, and their day is way too complex, is way too reactive, is way all over the place. They never get into a state of flow, they never get into a state of focus, they never get into a state of excellence, like really warming up, like doing one task repeatedly until they're really warm and in the flow and really at peak performance level. If you have your salespeople do all kinds of things and it's not bracketed up by days, Mondays we prospect, Tuesdays we close, Wednesdays we demo, or at least by hour or part of the day. The first part of the day we prospect, the second part of the day we close deals and negotiate deals. Like, you want to create a day for your sales team and a process for your sales team that is not so complex, that's not constantly attention shifting, constantly moving from negotiation to prospecting to email to phone calls to research. Like, you want to simplify their day so they are getting really warm and focused and in the zone and flow state to really perform at peak levels. The next thing you really want to eliminate is aggressive discounting. And discounting is really the vein of my existence, and it's the most abused tool in sales and sales teams, especially in SaaS, which I hate. But SaaS, so listen, right? If you give your sales team free reins when it comes to discounting, salespeople will be very aggressive in discounting, right? Obviously, your sales team is going to do whatever they can to close deals. And so if one thing they can do is to lower the prices, that's the lowest hanging fruit for them. That's the one thing they will always default to. I listen to sales teams in SaaS companies that will proactively offer discounts before the prospect ever says anything about price. They say, well, this is the product, and here's how it works, and here's other companies that use us. And by the way, I'm happy to work on the price with you. What the hell is that? The prospect never brought up price. It never said the price was an issue. But the sales team knows, well, I can heavily discount, so let me just proactively throw that out there. It covers weaknesses in your product, weaknesses in your marketing, weaknesses in your brand, weaknesses in your culture. Like, we're not confident enough that our price is right, that our product creates tremendous value, and that we can beat the competition even if we're more expensive. No, we don't have any of these things figured out. So our insecurity will shine through us instantly wanting to just compete on price and beat our competition by giving you nickel and diming them and giving you, a few dollars less of a price per month, so we win your business, hopefully. It covers core weaknesses. Instead of teaching your sales team to be excellent at selling and creating relationship with customers, you just make them discounting machines. And it's creating all kinds of complexity in forecasting your pipeline, your revenue. Eventually, to support this and to do account management and success with this is going to be a nightmare. Once you have thousands and thousands of customers, and every damn customer, no matter how small they are, has a completely different deal. Well, this customer that pays us $50 only pays us $49. And they prepaid us, 2 months instead of a year, but therefore they got 1 month free. And this other customer, they're paying us, $33 for the same product, but they only going to pay us that for 7 months, and then they're going to pay us full price. And this other customer, they only pay us $10, but they gave us recommendations. How are you ever going to scale up that kind of a deal flow? It's impossible to manage. The only deals that should be customized are multi-million-dollar deals, right? If you close deals that are at least 6-figure deals and are enterprise level, yes, of course you're going to do something highly customized to that client, because we're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But when we talk about $50 a month, or even $1,000, $2,000, $3K a month, you can't customize a deal. You won't be able to track this. You won't be able to support this. It's going to be really hard for you to understand how well your sales team is doing, because now what are we tracking? Yes, this person closed 5K in UMR, and this other person only closed 2K in MR, but this 5K deal is going down 3 months later for it's going to be impossible to really track, forecast. It's going to be impossible to really know how well your team is doing. It's going to make it so expensive and hard to support these customers. Your support team is not going to know who they're dealing with, what kind of a deal your sales team convoluted and Frankenstein together. Your success team and account management team is not going to know who's who and how these deals came to be and how to support them and how to remind the customers and enforce some of these things. It's going to be all over the place, and I see this all the time. And then last but not least, when it comes to complexity, is closing bad deals, right? The worst thing that can happen to you is not losing a deal, it's closing a bad deal. That's much worse than losing a good deal, is closing a bad deal. And this is another thing I see too many SaaS sales teams do. They're so forced in bringing in revenue that they'll close an eye here and there, they'll overlook a little detail here and there, they'll sweet talk themselves into thinking, well, we have an enterprise level security product for CTOs or Fortune 500 companies, but this design student and his friend who have a blog project could maybe also make some use of our product. Seriously, sales teams will they can't help themselves. I'm a salesperson. Sometimes if somebody wants to buy your product, you're going to find some kind of a justification why that's not that bad of a deal. Bad deals are going to ruin your business, right? They're going to, create all kinds of negative noise. They're going to have support requests that are weird or hard to deal with. They're going to be constantly complaining about things. They're going to be giving you suggestions or requesting features that are completely misaligned from what your core customers really want. They're going to ultimately churn. They're going to cancel. They're going to leave because they did not get value from your solution. They should have never bought in the first place. And because they wasted all this money and time, they're now going to be highly incentivized to go out there and tell everybody how horrible your company is, how terrible your salespeople are, and how worthless your product is. They're going to be tweeting, sharing, leaving product reviews. They're going to create all kinds of bad reputation, bad brand for you. They're going to crush your company morale. They're going to crush your numbers, right? They're going to create all kinds of problems. Closing bad deals really points to a poor qualifying process. It points to lack of standards and such high pressure to deliver revenue that sales teams feel that they need to make quote unquote compromises on what kind of deals they close. And what you do is you solve a short-term problem to create a long-term problem, right? Short-term problems are not that big of a problem, right? They're painful, they're annoying, but they're short-term. It's going to pass. But if you try to prioritize addressing the short-term, which is like, let's say, hitting your quarterly quota and bringing in some revenue number that some VC or investor wants to see, you do that by bringing in bad customers. What you're doing is you're setting yourself up for long-term failure, right? Never, ever do that. And the last thing that we wanted to talk about, the fifth step to optimizing your SaaS sales machine, is to shorten the sales cycle, is to save time, right? One thing we can do is to try to close bigger deals, or try to take the deals we're closing and expand on that, retain and expand that business. So today you spend X amount of money with us, and every following month you spend more money with us, right? That's beautiful. The other thing we can do is to shorten the sales cycle. So the less time it takes to close, the less money it costs us to close a deal, the more profitable every deal is. Time is money. So what can we do to shorten the sales cycle? 3 basic, simple steps. First step, waste less time and attention, right? This is something a lot of sales teams, they're too giving with their time. They're not managing their time frugally enough. They're really wasteful with their time, and hence they spend too much time on things that shouldn't take that long, and they increase the time to close the deal versus shortening it, right? So you don't need 60-minute calls, 90-minute calls to do a demo. 30 minutes is more than enough. Your calls, your meetings, your demos, all these things are way too long. You let way too much time pass between one step and the next step, right? So you talk to somebody, you give them a demo today, and you decide together that the next step is to jump on another call with more stakeholders. There's no reason to hang up the phone after the demo and then a day later send them an email thanking them for the demo and suggesting some times next week to meet, for them to then let a few days pass and tell you that your time suggestions aren't working. And then this back and forth of trying to schedule leads to basically a wasted week. A wasted week here, a wasted week there. That's how you waste months and years of your life, and that's how you increase the cost to close every single deal in your pipeline. So you got them on a demo. It's the end of the call. They're there. You're there. Use the power of now. Tell them, hey, next step is to have another call with more stakeholders. Let's look at the calendar next week. How about Tuesday, Wednesday, this time or that time? Let's try to organize this right now and put this on the calendar while we're on the phone. Let's get this done right now. How about having the call this week? It's Wednesday. Let's set it up for Friday. No reason to let 7 days pass mindlessly, right? So waste less time, less attention. Make sure that you don't waste a lot of time with people that shouldn't be getting your time because they can use it in a valuable manner, right? So qualifying people before jumping on 1-hour calls is a really good practice. Next thing you want to do, and this, already alluded to this, is use the power of now, right? So making decisions and taking actions and next steps right away. I brought this up with an example of the demo, but in general, you don't want to have these calls that end with like a big to-do list for everybody to tackle afterwards. You want to get people and prospects on the phone call to make as many decisions as possible. Hey, we need to upload some leads into your system and see how your system really works. Cool, Mr. Prospect. Well, then I hope that the next few days you get the time to do that. Well, you have them on the phone. You're there. Tell them, hey, If the next thing we have to do is upload your leads into our system so you can really test it, let's do that right now. That way I can assist you if you have any questions. Do you have a spreadsheet with your leads at your desktop? Well, let's get rock and rolling. Let's get this test done. Let's get your data into our system. Let's set up the APIs. Let's give you the quick tour, and maybe you can start taking action using our platform right now, right? If you were a Close.io trial user, we would encourage you, hey, can we make some sales calls? Can you make some sales calls using Close.io today to close a deal with our software? Can you send some sales emails today to close a deal with our software? Let's get to closing deals ASAP. Make decisions, take actions right away, and then map out the buying process, right? Know all the steps and run them in parallel whenever you can. So this is a question way too many people are not really asking, which is the question, what is it going to take for you to become a customer of ours, right? It seems like this is a qualified opportunity for both ends. There seems to be a mutual fit. Let me ask you, from everything you know, from where we are right now, what is it going to take to close this deal, to make this happen for both of us? And then whatever answer they give you, keep following up with answers until you arrive at a virtual close, a time in the future where they are now a customer of yours, right? So they might tell you, well, the next step is to run a pilot. Cool. What will the pilot look like? What does it entail? What are the KPIs for winning? When the pilot concludes and we both agree that we hit our targets, what typically happens next? Are we in business right away, or do we have to go through other steps? Well, no, then you have to talk to legal. Okay, so we talk to legal, legal signs off on the contracts. What happens next? Well, next you have to talk to procurement. All right, and now that we talk to procurement, are we in business? No, now, I don't know, you have to talk to our advisory board, and then you have to talk to my grandmother. She needs to read your palm and your future, and she has to tell me if you're a positive spirit, right? Whatever the hell it is. Like, you have to follow up until they say yes, and this is the last step, and then we would be a customer. Boom, now we've mapped out the buying journey. We know all the steps and all the stakeholders involved to go from where we are right now to them becoming a customer and us starting a relationship. Now that we know all these steps, we can point to landmines, we can point to red flags, but we can also parallelize the process. Hey, how about instead of us running a pilot for 3 to 6 months and then agreeing that this is beautiful and we should work together, and then legal potentially delaying things for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, how about you put us in touch with the legal right away? We're going to make that upfront investment with no obligation on your end to talk to your legal team, have them prove our contracts. So at the end of the pilot, if you give the green light, legal has already approved all the contracts and we can get going, right? So you can get in touch with different departments. I don't know what it is. It might be like the IT department has to do a technical check. Well, maybe you want to do that in parallel while you're running the pilot versus at the end of the pilot being blindsided and quote unquote surprised by hearing that there's an IT team you've never heard of that has to do some security testing or whatever. And the IT team right now is really bogged down with some other projects and it's going to take them 2 months to review it. And then when they review it, they have like a long laundry list of things they want you to improve or things to change. And like it delays the whole thing for months and months and months. Better to know that up front, having the whole buying journey mapped out and being able to address and manage and parallelize the steps to shorten the sales cycle. That's it, people. It's very, very easy. Didn't I tell you 5 simple ways, right? We start by designing a simple funnel, activity, quality, conversion, improving the top of the funnel always first, creating learning loops through our customers so we learn what emails, what calls, what demos, what presentation, what works and why, and what doesn't work and why, and learning from our customers directly. Eliminating complexity, kill the discounts, kill the complexity in your salespeople's days, like kill all that complexity, simplify your model, and then shorten the sales cycle whenever possible. Make sure that the time is never wasted, that your sales team is valuing their own time and the prospect's time, that you map up the buying cycle so you know all the steps that need to be taken to close a deal. You don't waste any time there. And if you do all these things, you have a pretty amazing SaaS sales machine. If you don't do some of these things or all these things, that's totally fine. Most of your competitors aren't either. Just pick one of them, start at the beginning, and just go one step at a time, improving what you have, making progress. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress, aim for improvement. And you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be surprised in a year or two how far you've come. All right, if you have any questions or feedback, make sure to send me an email, stelly@close.io. Always happy to hear from you. If you have not done that yet, make sure to go to blog.close.io and subscribe to our blog. And until next time, let's go and get them.